Hi students. So let us move to the next topic. In the previous video we have gone across the composition of a functions. So the next concept regarding the relations and function after composition of function is invertible function. So the definition of the invertible function is given here. So to understand this definition, as usual, I'll go with solving the one of the example. So while solving the example, I parallelly explain each and every statement regarding the invertible function. So what is the definition is saying? A function f from x to y is defined to be invertible if there exists a function g from y to x. Means what? If a function f from x to y is there, and if there exists another function g from y to x, such that what is going to be the difference between f and g function means which was domain in the function f has changed into the codomain in the function g, and which was codomain in the function f is changed into the domain in the function g. So you can see here function f from n to y, where n is the set of natural numbers. So x to y, here x is nothing but set of natural number. So the function is defined as how? The function is defined as f of x is equal to 4x plus 3, and the set y they have defined as y belonging to set of natural number such that y is equal to 4x plus 3. So all those when you input the value for x in the set of natural numbers, what and all the value you are going to get, those elements are going to belong to the set y. That is what the set y is saying. Okay. Now you can see here f of x is equal to 4x plus 3. I can write it as y is equal to 4x plus 3, right? So y is equal to 4x plus 3 because our f of y is nothing but y. Now you can see here that y is written in terms of x. Now I am changing this into, I am writing x in terms of y. That is x is equal to what? Y minus 3 divided by 4. So this is nothing but writing x in terms of y. So I can write this one as g of x, not x, g of y is equal to y minus 3 divided by 4, right? Because you can see here clearly y is equal to 4x plus 3, which is nothing but f of x is equal to 4x plus 3. Now you can observe here clearly that this y, what y, g of y is equal to y minus 3, this y is taken from where? This y is taken from the set y. After taking the set y from the set this y from the set y, what we are going to get by taking the small y from the set of capital Y? So what we are going to get? We are going to get x. And where does this x belongs to? And this x belongs to where? Set of natural numbers. So this y which is taken from the set of capital Y, and by inputting this value we are going to get what? We are going to get x, and this x belongs to where? This x belongs to set of natural numbers. So I can write a function g from set y, because we have inputted what? We have inputted y which is belonging to set of y. After inputting this y from the set y, what we got? We got what? X, which belongs to set of natural number. So here we defined a function g from y to set of natural numbers such that how the function is defined? G of y is equal to y minus 3 divided by 4. So our step 1 to solve the any function question regarding the invertible function is, first we are defining a function g. That is what we have did here. This is the first step. So we have defined. So what the definition is saying, for a given function f from x to y, to say this function is invertible, there exists a function g from y to x. So we have defined a function from y to x. Here x is set of natural number. After that, what? It should satisfy two things. That is, we know that step 2 means we need to prove these two things. That is, one is two type of composition is possible. One is Goff, another one is form. So what they are saying, Goff is equal to Ix and fog is equal to Iy. That is nothing but here Goff. Goff means what value you are inputting here. For a Goff function, you are inputting the elements which are in the domain of the function f. So what is in the domain of the function? Domain of the function f is set of natural numbers. So the elements belonging to set of natural numbers are x. So here you are inputting x, which is belonging to the domain of the function f. So after inputting, what they have said, Goff is equal to Ix. What is Ix? Identity function, which I have already explained in one of the question in the previous video. So you have inputted x, and what does the identity function saying? Which element you are inputting, you are going to get the same element as the output. So I am writing it as in here, because here x is what? X is set of natural numbers. So it is in. What you have inputted, you are going to get same as an output, and that output is inputted is x and output is also x, and that x belongs to set of natural numbers. Similarly here, which one you are inputting? Inputting the elements which are in the domain of the function g. So what is the domain of the function g? It is set y. The elements belong to set y are small y. So g of y. After inputting y, what you are going to get? You are going to get the same element y, and that y belongs to the set capital Y. So that y Iy. So in and I are nothing but the identity function. So if we prove these two, means what they are saying, g from y to x such that Goff is equal to Ix and fog is equal to Iy. If we prove these two condition, means then the function g is called inverse of the f. That is, then this function g is called as inverse of the function, and this is nothing but the inverse g of y. If we prove these two, means then this becomes the inverse of the function, and it is denoted by f inverse. So let us solve this problem completely. At that time you will get to know each and every statement here properly. So let us solve this one. Goff of x is equal to in. So Goff of x, it is nothing but what? G of f of x. We have what? G of y is equal to y minus 3. Suppose g of t means t minus 3 by 4. So g of f of x means what happens? F of x minus 3 by 4. What is f of x here? F of x is what? 4x plus 3. So that is nothing but 4x plus 3 minus 3 divided by 4. Plus 3 minus 3 get cancels. 4 get cancelled. We got x. So x was inputted from the set of natural numbers. We got x itself. So what we have proved? G of f of x is equal to in, where x belongs to set of natural numbers. So I have represented with the in. Similarly, fog of y. What is that? Is nothing but f of g of y. So f of x is 4x plus 3. F of t is 4t plus 3. So f of g of y means what happens? 4 of g of y plus 3. What is g of y? It is nothing but y minus 3 divided by 4 plus 3. 4 get cancels. Y minus 3 plus 3 plus 3 minus 3 get cancels. We got y. And this y belongs to which set? This y belongs to capital Y. So f of g of y is equal to Iy. So what we have inputted? We have inputted y, we got that value itself. Here also we inputted x, we got that value only x. So what we are inputting, we are going to get same output. So it is represented by in and Iy, which is nothing but the identity function. So we have proved Goff is equal to in and fog is equal to Iy. That is what they are saying in the definition. Goff is equal to Ix and fog is equal to Iy. Here x is nothing but set of natural numbers. So we have proved this one. So after proving this two, what they are saying, then the function g is called the inverse of the function. So that is nothing but, therefore g of y is equal to what? Y minus 3 divided by 4. This is the inverse of the function, and it is denoted as what? f inverse. So I can write f inverse of x is equal to x minus 3 divided by 4. So this is nothing but both are one and the same, where g is represented by f inverse. So f inverse to which function? Function f itself. So the function f is said to be invertible. When we are saying the function is invertible, if there exists a function g from y to x and satisfying these two conditions, means then function f is said to be invertible. They have said find the inverse. Inverse is nothing but what? This one. So this is how we have solved the question, and this is what the definition is saying. To be briefing the definition means, if function f is said to be invertible, means there exists a function g from y to x satisfying these two conditions, g function and f function both satisfying these two conditions. If it satisfies these two conditions, means then function g itself is called inverse of the function, and that function is denoted by g is equal to f inverse. This is what the invertible function definition is saying. Here is one of the beautiful example. Understanding this example, we can conclude with one of the beautiful result followed by this example. So what that example is saying is, they have given a function f from, I will call this set as x and this set as y, from x to y, and this function is 1 1 and onto, because they have defined the function itself. So each element is having only one image, so it is both 1 1 and onto function. What we need to show? We need to show the function g from a set y to x such that gof of that function is equal to ix and fog is equal to iy. So what I am to prove this one? I am considering the function g from a, b, c to 1, 2, 3 itself, and I am defining, how I am defining this function is g of a is equal to 1, g of b is equal to 2, and g of c is equal to 3. This is what I have defined. First thing, I have defined this function like this, and now I need to prove this one according to the defined how I have defined. That is gof. Gof means which one you are taking as the input, the elements which is belonging to the domain of the function x. That is gof of 1 is what? G of f of 1. So what is f of 1? It is a. So g of a. What is g of a? It is 1. And similarly, gof of 2 means g of f of 2. And what is f of 2? It is nothing but b, and g of b is 2. And gof of 3, it is nothing but g of f of 3, and f of 3 is nothing but c, and g of c is equal to 3. So you can see, observe here properly that by inputting what we have inputted, we have got the same element as an output, and all these output elements belongs to which set? It belongs to the set x itself. So it is clear that gof is equal to ix. Similarly, you can prove for fog also. One input I am for one thing I am proving, and rest of them you can do it by yourself. Fog means which element you are going to take as an input? The elements which are belonging to the domain of the function g, that is a. I can write it as f of g of a. What is g of a? It is 1. So what is f of 1? F of 1 is a. So what you have inputted? You have inputted a, and you got the same element as an output. So all those input belongs to the set y, and the output also you are going to get the same element from the set y. It is clear that f of g is equal to iy. So you have proved that, consider defining a function g like this, you have showed that gof is equal to ix and fog is equal to iy. When you showed these two, means then g, you have proved what they have asked you. Okay, now looking into this example, I can give one of the important note, and which is very useful note, that is, if f is invertible, if f is invertible, f is invertible means what? There exists a function g from, suppose there exists a function g such that fog is equal to iy and gof is equal to ix, where f is defined from x to y means, and g should be defined from y to x. Suppose f is invertible means, invertible definition is this one. Suppose f is invertible means it implies f is bijective. Bijective means what? Then f is both 1 1 and onto. Inverse of this statement is also holding, that is, suppose f is bijective. Suppose f is bijective means what? F is both 1 1 and onto means, suppose f is onto means it implies f is invertible. F is invertible means what? Then there exists a function g such that fog is equal to iy and gof is equal to ix. So it is clear that f is invertible means it is bijective. If it is bijective means then it is invertible. So this concept is very useful when, suppose if there is a question like check whether, they have given some function and they asked us to check whether f is invertible or not. They have only asked to check whether it is invertible or not. So here you no need to find what is that invertible function. They didn't ask what is invertible function. They just asked whether it is invertible or not. In this case, if you check that, if that function is bijective means, if that function is 1 1 and onto means, that is damn enough. If the function is bijective means what? It is invertible. So if you check those function has a bijective means, then you can write it as it is invertible. So there is no need of finding the inverse. So this much work is enough. This type of questions are helpful to solving MCQ questions because it is a one line statement or one word checking process when the function is defined, because you can check 1 1 and onto by the mapping process also. That's why this type of hint notes are very important. So let us solve few questions regarding the invertible and finding the inverse. So all those are solved with those two steps itself. So let us solve one by one. At that time you are going to get the concept clear. So here is one of the question. They have defined one set y is equal to n square, where n belongs to set of natural numbers, and the function f, it is defined from set of natural numbers to set y, and function is defined as what? F of n is equal to n square, where n belongs to set of natural numbers n. So we need to show that this is invertible. If it is invertible means then we need to find what is the inverse. What is the step 1? As I said in the beginning, first step is we are defining a function g. So to define that function, f of n is equal to n square. So if I take for any y which is belonging to set y means, this becomes what? Y is equal to n square for some y which is belonging to set y. So here n is expressed in terms of y. Now let us express n in terms of y. That is, n is equal to what? Square root of y. And this is nothing but what? This is nothing but g of y, because this function is nothing but f of n, and this becomes g of y, because what we are inputting here we are inputting y, and that y belongs to where? That y belongs to the set y. And after inputting y, what we are going to get? We are going to get n, where that n belongs to where? That n belongs to set of natural numbers. So we defined a function g from set y to set of natural numbers, because we have inputted the value from the set y, and after inputting the value we got the value of n, where that n belongs to set of natural numbers. So output is from the set of natural numbers, so that becomes the codomain. So we defined a function g from y to n, and the function is defined as g of y is equal to square root of y. So first thing, we defined a function. After defining this function, what we need in the step 2? In the step 2 we need to check the two things. What is those two things? That is, gof is equal to in and fog is equal to what? Iy. So let us go with one by one. Gof. What you are inputting for gof? Gof, we are inputting the values from the domain of the function f. What is the domain of the function f? It is set of natural numbers. So the elements which are belonging to the set of natural numbers are small letter n. So g of f of n, that is g of f of n. Okay, g of y is root y and g of t is root t. So g of f of n becomes what? Root of f of n. What is f of n? F of n is n square. So what happens? Square root of n square. Root and square get cancels. We are going to get what? N. So what we have inputted, we got the same as an output, and this belongs to where? This n belongs to set of natural numbers. So Gof is equal to set of natural numbers, because that n belongs to set of natural numbers. So one thing is proved. Similarly for fog. So what we are taking as an input? The input for fog is from the domain of the function g. So what is the domain of the function g? Y. So what are the elements in the set y? It is small letter y. That is f of g of y. So what is f of n? It is n square. F of t, t square. So f of g of y becomes what? G of y square. So what is g of y? It is nothing but square root of y. So square root of y whole square. So root and square get cancels. We are going to get y. So what we have inputted? Y. What we got? Output y itself. Where that y belongs to where? That y belongs to the capital Y or set y. So what does that implies? Fog is equal to Iy. So we have proved Gof is equal to In and fog is equal to Iy. So if we prove for Gof is equal to In and fog is equal to Iy, means what happens? F is an invertible. It is an invertible function. So if f is an invertible function, means what is the inverse of that function? G from y to n. How it is defined? G of y is equal to root y. It is the inverse of the function. It is inverse of the function. Suppose if this g is expressed in terms of f, means how it becomes? F inverse of n is equal to root n is the inverse of the function f. It is the inverse of the function f. So let us see next example, which is bit different compared to the previous one. So how the function is defined? It is defined from set of natural numbers to set of real numbers. And function is defined as f of x is equal to 4x square plus 12x plus 15. But what we need to show? A function f from set of natural numbers to s, and this s is nothing but range of the function. Means here our codomain was set of real numbers. It is having set of whole real numbers. After inputting values x, that is from the set of natural numbers, what the value you are going to get? When you input 1, what the value you are going to get? That values. If you input 2, what the value of? That is values of f of 1, f of 2, f of 3. These becomes what? The values of 1, 2, 3. I mean, what are the values of f of 1, f of 2, f of 3? Those becomes the range of the function. And they collected the range of the function from the set of real numbers, and they called that range of the function as set S. So we need to show that the function f from set of natural numbers to range of this function, that is S, is an invertible function. And to showing after this function is invertible, we need to find the inverse. So as usual, our first step is to define a function g. Okay. So they have defined f of x is equal to 4x square plus 12x plus 15. They have defined the function where x, if f of y for any y which is belonging to s, this becomes what? Y is equal to 4x square plus 12x plus 15. Here y is expressed in terms of x. So now I am expressing x in terms of y. That is nothing but what? So to express this one, first I will completing the square process, I will do it. That is nothing but 4x square, it is nothing but 4x square, it is nothing but 2x whole square, plus I am expressing to make it completing the square means how I am writing 2 into 2x plus what 2x to get the 12, what I am required 2 2s are 4x, 4x into 3, 4 3s are 12x, we got 12x. So here it becomes what 3 square. So 3 square, what is the remaining? 3 square means 9, remaining is what 6. So it is nothing but what, it is in the form of a square plus 2ab plus b square. So it is nothing but 2x plus 3 whole square plus 6. So this is nothing but the 4x square plus 12x plus 15. So this is nothing but our y. I have did the completing the square process here. So we got y is equal to 2x plus 3 whole square plus 6. So now I am expressing this in terms of, here y is in terms of x, now I am expressing x in terms of y. That becomes y minus 6. After that taking the root, square root of y minus 6. After that it will become what? Bringing this 3 to the LHS, it becomes minus 3 divided by 2. So x is equal to square root of y minus 6 minus 3 divided by 2, which is nothing but I am calling this one as what? G of y. So now you can see here clearly I have inputted the value y where y belongs to set S. After inputting the value y from the set S, what we got? We got x, where that x belongs to where? That x belongs to set of natural numbers. So we defined the function g from set S to set n, and that function is defined as g of y is equal to square root of y minus 6 minus 3 divided by 2. This is how the function is defined. So our first step is done. So what is our second step? Step 2 is to prove GOF is equal to IN and fog is equal to IS. So you can see here square root of y minus 6 minus 3 divided by 2. Here already this y is from the set S and S is belonging to set of real numbers. It is a subset of real numbers. So here the value y, it should be greater than or equal to 6, because if it becomes less than 6 means it will become a complex numbers, because inside the root we are going to get the negative value. So it should be greater than or equal to 6. So now you need to prove this one. First thing, GOF. So what value you are taking as an input? From the domain of the function f. What is the domain of the function f? It is n, that is set of natural numbers. So the elements which are belonging to set of natural numbers is x here. So it becomes g of f of x. So g of y is square root of y minus 6 minus 3 divided by 2. So g of t means square root of t minus 6 minus 3 divided by 2. So g of f of x means what happens? Square root of f of x minus 6 divided by 2 minus 3. So this is what the function. So what is f of x? F of x was 4x square. So it becomes square root of 4x square plus, so no need of writing this one, we have completed the square. Here is one of the form, right? We can use that one, that is 2x plus 3 whole square plus 6, okay, plus 6. So this is what f of x, this is what f of x. After that what? F of x minus 6, and up to here we are having the square root. After that what? Minus 3 divided by 2. Here plus 6 minus 6 get cancels. After that square root of 2x plus 3 whole square, this root get cancels by 2. It is nothing but what? 2x plus 3 minus 3 divided by 2, plus 3 minus 3 get cancels, 2 get cancels, we are going to get x. So GOF of x is equal to x itself. What we have inputted, we got same element as an output where x belongs to set of natural numbers. So GOF is equal to IN. You can similarly prove for fog of what is the input here. Input is from the domain of the function g, and what is the domain of the function g? S. And what are the elements belonging to set S? It is y. So if you input y and finally if you got y, means then what it implies, fog is equal to is. So this one, prove it by yourself. So now we have proved golf of is equal to in and fog is equal to is. Then clearly what, f is invertible. F is an invertible function. And what is the inverse? Here inverse is nothing but what? F inverse is equal to g, which is nothing but this one, that is f inverse of x is equal to square root of x minus 6 minus 3 divided by 2 for x greater than or equal to 6. So this is the inverse of the function f. Here is one theorem based upon the composition of a function, that is they have defined three functions f, g and h, that is arbitrary function from x to y, and g is from y to z, and h is a function from z to s, where x, y, z, s are the arbitrary sets. And then what we need, then they are saying that h of g of f is equal to h of g of x. That means if we change the bracket, it is like associativity, means then these two functions are having the same value. So let us prove how it is. So first let us consider our LHS, that is h of g of f. So what value we are going to input for this function? So we are inputting the values from the domain of the function f. What is the domain of the function f? It is x. So if I take the element, let x belongs to set x, means I am inputting x here. So what happens? H of g of f of x, right? And this h of g of f of x, it is nothing but h of g of f of x. So this is what h of g of f of x is saying. Similarly, if I go with h of, that is our RHS, that is h of g of f. So again, what we are inputting here? We are inputting the element from the domain of this function f, that is x. It is x here. So what happens? H of g of f of x. So if we remove this bracket, h of g is nothing but what? H of g of f of x. So you can see here our LHS is equal to RHS. Therefore what we can say, h of g of f is equal to h of g of x. The proof of this theorem is not at all that important. If you understand this one, and problem based upon this one matters a lot. So upon this theorem, there is one of the problem. They have defined a function f from set of natural numbers to natural numbers, g also from set of natural numbers to natural numbers, and h from set of natural numbers to real numbers. And how the function is defined? F of x is equal to 2x, g of y is equal to 3y plus 4, and h of z is equal to sin z, where our x, y and z, because x is from natural numbers, y is also from natural numbers, z is also from natural number. So all these three x, y, z belongs to set of natural numbers, and they are asking us to prove this one. So let us consider first our LHS, that is h of g of f. So what we are taking as an input? We are taking as an input from the domain of the function f, that is x here. So what happens? H of g of f of x, right? So now what is g of y is 3y plus 4, g of t is 3t plus 4. So g of f of x means what happens? It is nothing but 3 f of x plus 4. Okay, now what is this f of x? F of x is nothing but 2x. So what happens? 3 into 2x plus 4. So it is nothing but what? 6x plus 4. Now h of 6x plus 4, it is nothing but h of 6x plus 4. It is nothing but what? H of z is sin z, h of t is sin t. So h of 6x plus 4 becomes sin 6x plus 4. So this is our what? LHS. Similarly, if I take now RHS, that is h of g of x. So input value is x itself. So what happens, h of g of what is, that is f of x. F of x is what, 2x. So h of g of 2x means what, h of g of 2x. So what is h of g of 2x means h of z is sin z, h of t is sin t. So h of g of 2x becomes what, sin g of 2x. So what is g of y is 3y plus 4, g of t is 3t plus 4. So here what we are having, g of 2x, it becomes what, 3 2x plus 4. So it is nothing but 3 2x plus 4. It is nothing but what, sin 6x plus 4. So you can observe here clearly our LHS is equal to RHS. Therefore h of g of f is equal to h of g of f. So we have proved this one. So this theorem is mainly useful to how we are solving the problem based upon composition of function when three functions are given. The proof of this theorem is not that important, but solving the problem based upon that theorem is very important. So there is a next theorem based upon both composition and invertible function. That is, a function f and g are two invertible function where f is defined from x to y and g is defined from y to z, and we need to show that GOF is also invertible with GOF inverse is equal to f inverse of g inverse. So before going to this one, let us first go with the step by step. In the beginning of the definition of invertible function, in the definition of invertible function, what it is saying, a function f from x to y, it is said to be invertible means what, there exists a function g from y to x such that what, f of g is equal to iy and g of f is equal to ix. Then we say that what, g is our invertible function where g is equal to f inverse. So clearly now I am representing this g function as f inverse from y to x. Then what happens to this equation, f of f inverse is equal to iy and f inverse of f is equal to ix, right, where I expressed g in terms of x. At that time the invertible function, that g from y to x, where I expressed g in terms of f inverse, at that time these two expressions become f of f inverse is equal to iy and f inverse of f is equal to ix. Both are different. F of f inverse is different from f inverse of f. Okay, so remember this one. So now let us express these two functions invertible. What they said, f from x to y and g from y to z are invertible function. So f from x to y invertible means what, there exists a function f inverse from y to x such that there exists f inverse from y to x such that what, f of f inverse is equal to what, it is iy and f inverse of f is equal to what, f inverse of f is equal to ix. So which set here it is belonging? Easy way of remembering is f inverse domain is what, y, so it is y. F inverse of f, domain of f is x, so ix. Similarly g from y to z is an invertible function means what, there exists a function g inverse from where, z to y, such that what, g of g inverse is equal to iz and g inverse of g is equal to what, iy. So this is what the definition is saying, f and g are two invertible function. Now what we need to prove, g of f is invertible with this inequality. That is, we need to prove g of f is, GOF is also a invertible function with what, with g of f inverse. GOF inverse is equal to f inverse of g inverse. So GOF means what, Goff function, from where to where it is defined. Goff function means f is from x to y and g is from y to z. So the domain of Goff is what? X, and codomain is what? Z. So Goff function is defined from x to z. So to prove this one is invertible means there exists a function what? Goff inverse, g of f inverse from z to x, such that what? G of f inverse, that is what we used to do, f of f inverse. So Goff of Goff inverse is equal to what? I z, and Goff of inverse of Goff is equal to what? It is equal to I x. So if we prove this one means what? Then we becomes Goff is an invertible. With what they have saying Goff inverse is equal to f inverse of g inverse. So I am replacing Goff inverse with what? G of f inverse of g inverse, because if we prove this one is invertible means this one holds. So while proving itself, if I am replacing Goff inverse with this one means if this becomes equal means what? I mean if these two equality holds means then this one is invertible. So in this invertible place itself, if I am replace Goff inverse with f inverse of g inverse means along with the invertibility this equality is going to be holded. So which is equal to Iz, and g of f whole inverse of g of f whole inverse is replaced with what? F inverse of g inverse of what? Goff is equal to I x. So we need to prove this one. So to prove Goff is invertible with g of f whole inverse is equal to f inverse of g inverse, it is enough if we prove Goff of f inverse of g inverse is equal to Iz and f inverse of g of Goff is equal to Ix. If we prove this one, then this statement is proved. So this statement complete is explained here. Suppose if you didn't get means rewind your video from here and understand it step by step. So we need to prove the two equality statement. Let us prove one by one. So one is f inverse of g inverse of Goff is equal to Ix. So taking the LHS with the help of theorem 1, f inverse of g inverse of g of f, I can write like this with the help of theorem 1, that is by grouping. So here grouping I have divided into grouping like this. So f inverse of g inverse of Goff is equal of Goff. So what does I can do here grouping considering these three, that is f inverse of g inverse of g of f, and you have seen here clearly g inverse of g is equal to what? That is Iy. G inverse of g is equal to Iy. So f inverse of Iy of f. So f inverse of Iy, here Iy is the identity function, so it becomes what? F inverse of Iy is f inverse itself. So f inverse of f, that is from this one. So f inverse of f means what? While defining here you have defined f inverse of f is what? Ix. So it is equal to Ix, which is our RHS. Similarly, we need to prove this equality also. Again with the help of theorem 1, I can do the grouping like this. So now considering these three set, I can change the grouping as g of f inverse of g inverse, and f of f inverse with the inversibility I am explained f of f inverse is equal to Iy. So g of Iy of g inverse, so Iy it is an identity function, g of Iy is g itself. So g of g inverse, so g of g inverse is what? Iz, which is our LHS. So we have proved both the statement. So with the proving both the statement, what happens? Goff is an invertible function. It is an invertible function with what? With Goff inverse is equal to f inverse of Goff inverse. So this is what? this proving is same. So this is the theorem 2 explanation. So I have explained this theorem with each and every detailed part. This much detailed explanation is not there in your NCERT textbook. So this much understanding is required when you are solving yourself some of the exercise questions or some of the JEE questions. This much detailed information is required. So I have explained this theorem in the detailed form. Suppose if you didn't get, means rewind it and pause the video and understand it step by step. At that time you are going to catch this one clearly. So upon this theorem there is one of the example question which you can expect for your examination also. So let us go to that problem now. So the question is, the function they have defined, the function f is defined from 1 2 3 to abc, and g is defined from set abc to set apple ball cat. And how it is defined, f of 1 is a, f of 2 is b, f of 3 is c, and g of a is apple, g of b is ball, and g of c is cat. And what the things we have to do here, we have three things to show here. First is f, g and gof are invertible functions. Since they are invertible, means we need to find those invertible function. After finding that invertible function, we need to show that gof inverse is equal to f inverse of g inverse. So if we go with step by step detailed explanation, it will take a very long time for making the video. So I will go with the representation with the mapping. Suppose if I call this one as set A and this one as set B. From A to B the set is defined and function f. From set A it is 1 2 3, and for set B it is A B C. And how the function is defined, f of 1 is A, f of 2 is B, and f of 3 is C. So clearly what this function f is 1 1 and on 2. So clearly since f is 1 1 and on 2, it is a bijective function. Since it is a bijective, what does that implies? It is an invertible function. So it is an invertible function means clearly f inverse, it is a function which is defined from set B to A, that is f inverse is defined from what? Set A, B, C to set 1 2 3. So how it will be? If f of 1 is A, means f inverse of A is 1, f inverse of B is 2, and f inverse of C is what? F inverse of C is 3. This is the invertible function, because you can see here clearly it is an invertible. So f inverse of A is 1, f inverse of B is 2, f inverse of C is 3. So the function f inverse is defined from set A, B, C to 1 2 3. Similarly for g function also. Okay, the g function, it is defined from what? Set B to set C, where our B is A, B, C, and set C is what? Our apple, ball, and cat. And it is defined as g of A is A apple, g of B is ball, and g of C is cat. So clearly our function g is what? It is 1 1 as well as onto function. So it is a bijective function. Since g is a bijective, it implies what? It is an invertible function. So it is an invertible function means what? There exists a g inverse function which is defined from set apple, ball, cat to what? It is defined from apple, ball, cat to A, B, C, such that g inverse of apple is A, g inverse of ball is B, and g inverse of cat is C. So here we have said that f is an invertible and f inverse is also found out. G is also invertible and g inverse is also found out with these two mapping diagram itself. Now gof. How the gof function is defined? F is defined from A to B and g is defined from B to C. So clearly f gof function's domain is what? Domain is set 1 2 3, and our codomain will be what? Apple, ball, and cat. Suppose if you take gof from the domain of the function f, that is input is 1, gof of 1 means what happens? G of f of 1. So g of what is f of 1? F of 1 is A. So g of A, what is g of A? It is apple. So clearly the function is defined from the domain A to codomain C. So it is defined from A to C. Similarly, you can check for f of 2. It is nothing but g of f of 2. That is, g of f of 2 is B, g of B is ball, and g of f of 3, where that is nothing but f of 3, g of f of 3, where f of 3 is nothing but C, and g of C is cat. With this one, if I do the mapping, means from A to C with 1, 2, 3 and C with apple, ball and cat, means with the function gof, g of f of 1 is apple, g of f of 2 is ball, g of f of 3 is cat. Clearly gof is also bijective function because it is both 1 1 and on 2. Since it is a bijective, it is clearly invertible function. Since it is an invertible function, gof inverse, g of f inverse, it is going to be light from which set to which set? It is going to be light from set apple, ball, cat. From this set to which set? From set 1, 2, 3, such that what? Since it is an invertible, g of f inverse of apple is equal to 1, g of f inverse of ball is equal to 2, and g of f inverse of cat is equal to 3. So it is an invertible function, and we have find out the inverse of the function also. Now the last part is remaining. We need to show that g of f inverse is equal to f inverse of g inverse. So I will show it for one variable, and for the rest two you need to verify. So what is we need to prove? G of f whole inverse is equal to f inverse of g inverse. I will consider the LHS, that is g of f inverse. What the input we are taking here? From the domain of g of f inverse, that is what? If I take apple, g of f inverse of apple is what? It is 1. I will consider now RHS. This is our LHS. We got g of f inverse of apple is equal to 1. What is our RHS? F inverse of g inverse. So what is the input we are taking? We are taking the input from the domain of the g inverse function. What is the domain of the g inverse function? It is set apple, ball, cat. That is, if I take f of g inverse of apple, it becomes what? F inverse of g inverse of apple. So what is g inverse of apple? G inverse of apple is what? It is A. What is f inverse of A? F inverse of A is what? It is equal to 1. So our LHS g of f inverse of apple is 1. RHS f inverse of g inverse of apple is equal to 1. So clearly LHS is equal to RHS for apple. Similarly, you can check for g of f inverse of ball, which is equal to, you can check this one with f inverse of g inverse of ball also. Verify like this itself, and similarly verify for g of f inverse of cat is equal to f inverse of g inverse of cat. After verifying, you will get LHS is equal to RHS in both the cases. From that we can write g of f whole inverse is equal to f inverse of g inverse. This is what we need to show, and we have proved it. So this is regarding this whole exercise, where all the three part we have proved with the help of this mapping diagram. So here is one of the question. They have defined the set S is equal to 1, 2, 3, and we need to and the function is defined from set S to set S itself, and the function is defined as means they have given 3 random examples. We need to check whether the inverse exists for these defined functions. Suppose the inverse exists, means we need to find the inverse. So how the first function is defined? So function, obviously f is defined from set S to set S itself. It is consisting of 1, 2, 3. It is also consisting of 1, 2, 3. It is defined in ordered pair, means 1 is has image 1, 2 is having image 2, 3 is having image 3. So clearly our first function, it is both 1, 1 and on 2. So f is what here? It is bijective function. Here in the first one, f1, it is an bijective function. Since it is a bijective, means what does that implies? It is invertible. It is invertible means what? F inverse is a function from set S to S itself, such that F inverse of 1 is 1, F inverse of 2 is 2, and F inverse of 3 is 3 itself. So what happens? The F inverse function, it is equal to 1 comma 1, 2 comma 2 and 3 comma 3 itself, which is our function F only. Now let us go to the next function. Again, drawing the Venn diagram means with the help of this mapping it is very easy to understand. So I am going with this method only to explain for you peoples. So this is the second function. How it is defined? 1 is mapped to, 1 is having the image 2 and 2 is having the image 1 and 3 is also having the image 1. Clearly this function is not an 1-1 function. It is not 1-1 function because here 1 and 3 is having the same image 1. So it is not an 1-1 function. It implies what? It is not an bijective. Since it is not an bijective, what I can say? It is not an invertible function. Not invertible. So inverse does not exist. Inverse does not exist. Okay. So that is what the important note which I said in the beginning. For this sake it is helpful to solve like this problems. Then the next function F3, how it is defined? From the set S to S itself, 1 2 3 1 2 3 function F. How it is defined? 1 is having the image 3, 3 is having the image 2 and 2 is having the image 1. Clearly this function is both 1 1 and onto. So it is what? It is an bijective function. Since it is a bijective function, it implies what? It is an invertible function. Since it is an invertible function, our F inverse, it is going to exist from S to S inverse. How it is defined? F inverse will be F inverse of 1 is equal to what? F inverse of 1 is 2, F inverse of 2 is 3 and F inverse of 3 is 1. So the function F inverse becomes what? F inverse is equal to 1 comma 2, 2 comma 3 and 3 comma 1, which is nothing but the ulta of this one. 3 comma 1, 2 comma 3, 1 comma 2, 3 comma 1, 2 3 comma 1, after that 2 comma 3 and 1 comma 2. So this is the inverse of the function. Third function, this is how we are going to find the inverse of the function, if exists or not, when the function is given in the form of an ordered pair. So this is regarding the invertible functions and the composition of functions. So here the concept of composition and invertible functions is going to be finished, and in the next video I am going to deal with the exercise problem based upon the composition of function and the invertible function. So suppose if you have any doubt with the invertible function, you can ask me at any time, as well as if you have any doubts regarding the composition also, means you can ask me at any time. Thank you students.